Can U.S. states create ICE-free zones? That's what LA County voted to do on Tuesday, to try and ban immigration agents from operating in certain areas. It's one of several ways that states have tried to protect themselves from an increasingly aggressive immigration crackdown. That crackdown intensified after agents fatally shot a woman in her car in Minneapolis in early January. The shooting prompted a wave of protests, demanding that the 3,000 federal immigration agents in the city leave at once. But it's not just them. Across the country, support for ICE seems to be slipping. In a recent Economist YouGov poll, 46% of respondents supported abolishing ICE, compared with just 43% who opposed it. The first time that more people were in favor than against. The results suggest that a year in, the backlash to Trump's deportation campaign may finally be reaching a turning point. That campaign has deployed thousands of ICE and Border Patrol agents across the country, including Los Angeles, Chicago, Portland, Minneapolis, and New York City, conducting aggressive raids not just on homes, but restaurants, shops, factories, and even schools. You might remember the October raid on Chicago's South Shore apartment building.
Extrajudicial forces flew Black Hawk helicopters, and then at 1 a.m, they hovered over a residential neighborhood in an American city, and they repelled soldiers from Black Hawks, and they busted into people's homes. They took citizens and non-citizens, they didn't know. They ripped them from their homes, they zip-tied them. They went in without a warrant.
Or maybe the raid on a Hyundai factory in Georgia, where nearly 500 South Korean workers were arrested, detained, and sent on a flight back to South Korea. Or a series of raids on Home Depot parking lots, car washes, and restaurants in LA last summer, where agents jumped out of unmarked cars and swarmed people they deemed were there illegally. As these raids continued, local communities began pushing back.
What the fuck is going on, dude? This is insane. They tell you it's immigrants, only immigrants. It's fucking anybody. I have friends that got detained and all they were doing was fucking driving home from work. What the fuck?
Protesters gathered outside hotels where ICE agents were staying, shouting and banging pots and pans to keep them up at night. When ICE attempted a raid on street vendors in New York's Canal Street, local residents came to their protection and stopped it. Elsewhere, they've formed ICE monitoring groups to keep each other informed of agents' presence. And in several cities, residents have held mass protests outside ICE detention facilities. Agents have often responded to these protests with force by firing rubber bullets, pepper balls, flashbang grenades, pepper spray, and tear gas at crowds. Some protesters have even been severely injured by agents firing non-lethal munitions at point-blank range. Accusing the Trump administration of creating chaos, state and city officials have repeatedly demanded the removal of federal agents in an escalating war of narratives.
People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Now somebody is dead.
That woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job.
We do not need or want federal troops in Oregon stoking fear, creating conflict, escalating a situation that is under control.
A larger, sinister, left-wing movement that has spread across our country, where our brave men and women of federal law enforcement are under organized attack.
Minnesota has now sued the Trump administration to try and block another surge of ICE agents. But Trump called the protesters professional agitators that are part of a left-wing network, threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota so that ICE could continue to go after what he calls violent criminals. But are they actually doing that? Just 2.6% of those arrested in Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago had a criminal conviction, and nearly 75% of the 68,000 people detained in ICE custody had no criminal conviction. Despite claiming to restore law and order, these raids have provoked huge protests, violence among local communities, and heightened tensions with law enforcement. So, what's the point? As with most things the president does, there are a range of theories. Maybe he's using ICE as a political tool against major Democrat-run cities. Maybe he's fomenting unrest to justify a crackdown on protest and an increase in federal power. Maybe he's hoping that the videos of violent ICE raids will win over his MAGA base while he struggles to bring prices down. Or maybe it's just not about Trump.
Torture is a celebration of life and human dignity.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash? We have plenty of janitors.
We're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country. Every one of those producers at 60 Minutes engaged in this revolt, fire them. Clean house, fire them.
Meet the inspiration behind Trump's immigration policies, Stephen Miller. Back in May, Miller ripped into ICE agents for not arresting enough people. Since then, he's held daily conference calls with major federal agencies to demand updates on arrest and deportation numbers. Under Miller's pressure, ICE recruitment efforts have grown rapidly, while training requirements have declined. As a result, the force has more than doubled in size in the past year alone. They've also relied on Border Patrol agents, who have brought more aggressive and indiscriminate tactics from the southern border into major American cities. Minnesota has become the latest flashpoint in Trump's immigration campaign. But a year into his second term, that campaign is only just getting started.